restate me.
Thank you very much, Chairman Burgess and members of the House Rules Committee. The Oversight Committee's February 27th subpoena required the Department of Justice to produce audio recordings of President Biden's interview with Special Counsel Robert Hur regarding the President's mishandling and improper disclosure of classified materials. The Department failed to produce them. The Oversight Committee held a markup to consider a report holding Attorney General Merrick Garland in contempt of Congress and favorably passed that report. This is not a complicated matter. The executive branch and its agencies, including the Department of Justice, are not above Congress's right to oversee those agencies. We, as members of the House of Representatives, have a duty to ensure congressional subpoenas are fully complied with by those who receive them, people, companies, and particularly the federal government. My colleagues on the other side of the aisle constantly talk about the threats to our institutions, but then they turn around and defend the DOJ's noncompliance with a duly authorized subpoena showing their partisanship. If my colleagues will not defend the institution of Congress, the institution they are a part of, how can we listen with a straight face when they talk about the sanctity of our other institutions? The President has asserted executive privilege over these audio recordings. Legal scholars find this assertion bizarre and meritless. The President has waived any executive privilege over these audio recordings by releasing a transcript of the entire interview to the public. When the transcript was released, President Biden's own White House spokesperson claimed, quote, "In keeping with his commitment to cooperation and transparency throughout this investigation, the President declined to assert privilege over any portion of the report," end quote. My question to the White House is, what happened to cooperation and transparency? What reason does the White House have to inappropriately assert executive privilege now? The White House has shown it is willing to alter transcripts to protect Joe Biden's image. It is insufficient to simply take the Justice Department at its word that the transcripts have not been altered. The Department of Justice does not get to decide how to comply with the subpoena, just as the people who receive subpoenas from DOJ cannot determine how they will comply. The Oversight Committee has conducted its own investigation into President Biden's mishandling of classified materials, and its findings contradict key portions of the White House's and President Biden's personal attorney's official narrative. Months of investigating by the Oversight Committee have revealed the White House has attempted to withhold the truth from the American people. As I stated in our markup, the Oversight Committee's timeline begins well before the White House's narrative that President Biden's private lawyers just stumbled upon classified materials in November 2022 at the Penn Biden Center. By May 24th, 2022, 6 months before the White House's story began, the White House counsel, Dana Remus, contacted a Biden former employee to retrieve President Biden's materials from the Penn Biden Center. She then traveled there herself to pick boxes up. Again, as I stated previously, and have not yet received an answer, why would the most senior lawyer at the White House be going to pack up an office that was supposed to only have pictures and personal documents in it? Why were President Biden's personal lawyers visiting the Penn Biden Center days before the, quote, discovery of classified materials if they thought they were just picking up pictures and letters? Why were they calling FedEx to pick up boxes and a White House employee was leaving with boxes before the November 2nd discovery? These are questions I continue to ask because so far none have been provided. Not by Special Counsel Hur, not by the White House, not by the Department of Justice, and certainly not by President Biden. If the Attorney General chooses to defy Congress and not produce the audio recordings, he must face the consequences of his actions. The path before us is clear, and the Oversight Committee recommends the Attorney General be found in contempt of Congress. Neither he nor President Biden are above Congress's oversight. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Chair thanks the gentleman. Gentleman yields back. Chair now recognizes, welcomes back to the Rules Committee, the ranking member of the Oversight Committee, Mr. Raskin.
Thank you very kindly, Chairman